do you remember the Chad Doerman case?
Of course, it is. I don't think the images that my imagination put in my head when we were talking about that story are images that I don't know if I'm going to not be able to think of, and including how calm and weird it was to see him right after being arrested. So yes, I absolutely remember.
So if you don't know, Chad Doerman is the accused in a case out of Ohio where he allegedly shot all three of his young boys, Clayton, who was 7, Hunter, who was 4, and Chase, who was 3, execution style in the family home's yard, as their mother and their sister frantically tried to save them. And then the sister ran and got help. It was a really hard case to look into, read the documents and the accounts of what happened.
It's not allegedly. He confessed.
He did absolutely confess. And by all accounts, seems totally, I mean, he's guilty.
Yeah.
But now his counsel are trying to argue his rights have been violated and are trying to get his confession suppressed.
Yeah, good luck with that one. It's a video recorded confession. It is when he is being arrested, and he says straight up to the cops that, you know, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to do anything else to anybody. You know, it's very clear he is talking directly about what he just did. So, I mean, good luck. Good luck.
So there was a video that went around the internet quite a bit. I wouldn't know if it went viral, but it kind of did, where, you know, the cops were apprehending him and he was just sitting on the front porch with a gun. Was he smoking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was smoking. And all 3 of the boys are laid in the yard, and that part's blacked out and redacted, of course, to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And the officers, you know, they get him. They're holding him at gunpoint until they get to him, and then they, you know, put him on the ground and arrest him and everything.
And I don't know.
And he's so cool, calm, and collected. Yeah. He is like, I'm not going to hurt you guys. And then they're trying to walk into the car, and he's like, hey man, can you get my wallet? And they're like, just shut up. You have the right to remain silent. So use it.
And the cops didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion.
No, that's not what the lawyers are talking about. Okay. They're talking about after that video cuts off and he goes to the police station and they interrogate him, he confessed. He even confessed to have been planning this for months. He confessed straight up. So what they're saying is that he asked for a lawyer and they went on for hours and never brought it up again and didn't get him a lawyer. And that he was read his Miranda rights, but they didn't give him a written copy or a waiver to sign.
That's fine. His confession was given before that, so.
What?
When he's being arrested, he very clearly alludes to the fact that he did this, not to mention he gathered them and laid them in the front yard. So I don't know. Maybe this is just an approach to make it seem like the defense attorney is doing his job and trying to defend him. But in my opinion, if they have him on video being verbally said his Miranda rights, that is acceptable. That is acceptable as evidence. So even if they want to try and argue the fact that while he's in the police station, because they didn't give him a copy or a signed copy or whatever, they're going to take away the confession. Okay, that's fine. Then we'll just use the confession that you allude to the fact that you're no longer going to hurt anybody else, that you're done hurting people because you have your kids laid out in the front yard. You know what I mean? Like you're fighting air here.
I mean, I agree with you, though I don't know if I agree that he alluded to in the body cam footage of being guilty. I think just him being on the front porch with the gun and a cigarette and the boys laying right there, and then saying, I'm not going to hurt you, like all of that, like his behavior, where he's
he
at,
says, I'm
what
not going to
he's
hurt anyone
doing.
else.
No.
That's when he was like, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not going to hurt anyone else or whatever.
I don't know. I think we'd have to go back and watch it because I'm not sure. I don't remember that, but you know, his wife is screaming and the mother is screaming in the background saying, why did you do this? And you know, it's an awful video, but like it's damning. Like there's no way it wasn't him.
Plus there's 2 eyewitnesses. So
what are they going to, I'm curious what they're going to accomplish by arguing this, because he agreed to confess. And it sounds like I mean, if they didn't give him a lawyer, I'm curious, what would the court's decision be, knowing like, okay, well, technically this is a Miranda or a constitutional right violation because you didn't get him a lawyer, but he went on to confess to everything. And we have very damning footage. It's pretty much a no-brainer that he did it. Like, how do we go about this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting here. This is one of those topics where I would need a few minutes, hours, whatever, to chew on, because I don't see the benefit in the angle here. I don't see any benefit to anything. Is the attorney worried that because he gave his confession, he's not going to be able to use the angle of, you know, temporary insanity? I don't know. There is too much evidence. There were 2 women, a girl and his wife there, that saw everything from start to finish. There is the video footage of what I believe him saying, you know, I'm not going to hurt anyone else. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not going to do anything. And yeah, I'm not drunk. I'm not this. I'm not that. As his sons are literally laid out in front of him. I don't know what the angle could be here. I don't understand. I need to chew on it a little bit and think about it.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's supposed to go to trial in July, and I think that is the angle, what you were saying with the insanity plea. I think that's what they're going to do.
What? With the confession, he's already admitted his guilt. So if they get the confession off, they're going to be able to go to trial and say that he's actually not guilty, that it was a bout of insanity.
Well, see, that's why I don't understand the point of trying to get the confession suppressed, because unless he said other things.
Insane, yeah.
No, if you're insane, yeah, there's no point in getting the confession suppressed.
Yep, exactly.
But unless he says other things that they're worried about could harm their insanity defense, like it could harm that, because he talked about planning it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to have an insanity defense when you've been planning this for months.
Yeah, that's a good yeah. I get where you're going. So there could be other details in there, not about him admitting he did it, just the details around the plan. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I bet you that is it. I bet you. Because having a long-term plan would also probably make you more likely to get the DP, the death penalty, you know, with that long-term intent there. Whereas if you have a jury who doesn't hear about that, maybe you'll just get life. I don't know. I don't know. This whole situation, though, this is one of those cases where, like, I personally don't have a lot of interest in it after seeing the crime and hearing about the crime, because it was so hard to watch and think about and understand. And it is so very, 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 very clear cut. There is not any room for maybes. There are not any questions of who could have. There is no setup. These officers were amazing. All of them had their body cams on in a situation where they were walking into an unknown, where there could be an armed assailant and
where shots could be fired.
They didn't beat the crap out of them. They acted very, very with the trauma that they were going through by seeing 3 kids, and some of these officers have kids of that age, of those ages of their own. They did amazing. These cops did incredible, man.
No, they did a great job. Like, think about how any human being, listening to this right now, you're in their situation, walking up to this guy who just did these to these little kids. Like, it's hard as a human to check your own emotions and handle things correctly, because it's so disturbing. It's angering. Like, you just want to do the same to him, and that's
Agreed.
human. That's
Yeah,
human.
I know.
And for cops to go above and beyond and, do the right thing despite those very human, natural feelings, it should be applauded. It's important. Especially when, you have other cops you see who don't do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're also trying to say that apparently some of the law enforcement inserted themselves in confidential discussions when he was talking to a medical professional, like a healthcare provider, that they forced themselves into that situation and like made him agree to them being there during it. I don't understand the details of that argument.
HIPAA's very, 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 very important. And I just want to be clear that in situations like this, even though these cops did amazing, sure, I'm sure there are situations where a cop might have inserted themselves too much because they felt like maybe they were worried about the healthcare provider in front of this man who just did one of the most heinous things in their lives. Or, they were having a hard time thinking objectively from only the perspective of like what their job is or what the training book says, So I feel like that could be one of those situations where it's like just a human hiccup, a cop wouldn't need to be held accountable in a situation like that. This would be like, hey, make sure next time if you're ever in a situation like this, which you probably never will be, that you're very clear about. You know what I mean? That's like just an overstep, like a blip.
Well, I don't want to downplay constitutional rights and HIPAA. They're important, and this is what a defense lawyer is for. Okay, it's to dig these things out, and to bring them to attention, bring them to surface, take it in front of a judge, and get it ruled on. However, even if all of this is true, he still did it. So I'm curious how it's going to play into the trial. I'm curious how the court's going to rule on it and how they will kind of sort that out. I don't know. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think.